to live in towards the end of the game, but Academy already took up that spot up the hill, and now Limbo
pretty much done. Dagestan are down, but I feel like in this scenario, I'm looking at Team Spirit starting to light up this elimination feed blank, and it almost feels like dangerous as a duo they are as four. They're playing a little right now on the south side.
Connect, honestly, and we'll talk about it afterwards. Getting burnt alive here underneath the grill of the bit of a white wolf situation here. It starts to get hot over towards 8-8 Academy. Tanner, Nado at the top. That's pretty good, actually. Nice airburst, just slightly late.
Doesn't have any more in the pocket there. Now 8-8 Academy have got their one last player surviving for a moment longer. In the deck. Of course, this position is known because that nade did find the mark there.
And Rodri having to back off. Rodri Jr.
Rodri was his father.
Rodri Major, you mean?
Sure. Senior?
Major.
Oh, okay. Oh, because like stars are like major and minor. Okay, yeah,
that's right.
Got it.
That's right.
And they're fighting against Star Esports. That's a pretty gnarly reference there. I like it.
Team Spirit managed to remove one for all, and again, I think it is. This is what I was talking about. Is a slight disconnect between Effect and Kitsune, who are both quite tactical players compared to Nomi and Matic. I think it worked quite well before having Nomi on the team, with Naomi being more of that grenadier. Nomi was just that aggro fragger you had in the front lines, but now you've got a disconnect between two tactical players in Kitsune and Effect, as well as two very aggressive players in Nomi and Matic. And they have done a lot here already in this game.
They have been opening up on this south side, something awful, but finally Nomi does hit the deck. Potential to get flushed here as the Eagles did manage to keep all four of their players alive despite taking 2 knocks earlier on. And I think that might be it for Team Spirit. Finally will go down. 7 eliminations found. A good start to their day. Eagles will continue as 17-15. Just try and survive in one location. This is their game plan, and it's okay. But it's not going to win you the tournament. It's not going to qualify.
It works some places. It doesn't work here on Potato Hill because you really need to be very aware of where teams are coming from and make adequate rotations to defend from certain positions and give up other areas. For instance, for here, if I was 17-15, I'd have fully committed over towards this western side to stop this push coming through from Star earlier on. There's Tornado down, and it's just 2 players inside, so this should be a fairly easy pickup. But SC Eagles coming strong over towards that top side. Nade bouncing quite close to Star. Should be angles, and they're just giving them to him.
It's the deck outside. This smoke completely blinding 17-15. They are waiting for these smoke trades. They are opting for the coin toss. Spraying the corner, pre-fire there. Smokes are going to begin to fade. He's up to the wall. Just clearing the entirety of this building, which is what you need to do against these smokes. There's the spray, the step out comes in, so maybe something for 17-15, but finally he's going to hear that gentle through the window. Has got 2 teams to worry about. He's caught in the crossfire. Finally, there's the shot that they were looking for. 17-15 full, and Star take up the mantle.
And SC Eagles want to push down. They're outside the circle. They will have to push in. Strangers just clearing out their northern edge at the moment. They know this is the most expansive area in the circle that's not really fully known at this point in time. But they're down the hill. They have to wait this game out. They sort of have to pray for a bit of a northern shift on their side of things. But Star right now have a very strong spot. They held it quite well versus SC Eagles coming in from that south side. Drop the smoke train, clear out the final players for 17. They have a very strong position to play off the back of, and SC Eagles step out into open ground.
They started the day yesterday with a chicken dinner to see if the Eagles could do it again, but there's difficult flat roll out here. It's going to start and knock over towards OMG. A great first knock for Star Esports as they're going to continue to keep that pressure on. Slow down the Eagles as much as possible. Big Baby making their break, but they are going to have a real tough time with it. Strangers actually moving at the same time, which allows Babies to move on in a little bit safer. This is really, really great timing from Baby, but They do have a knock on the back lines, which is going to create a little bit slowdown on their mood potentially. But that bleed out comes through. And Alicia picks up the point. A lovely nade onto the smoke rock there. And Arabal goes down. Potential to res that pretty quickly, but Baban actually sitting, biding his time, allowing his teammate to crawl back to him instead.
Yeah, they basically had to slow down the fight for Strangers because they had one player holding out over towards the western side. In comes the push. Over the top side, Lawrence tries to provide a little bit of covering fire to suppress the guys from Strangers trying to get through into their position. Brett in the back lines at the moment looks to send another strong grenade over the top, just close into the engagement, but more shots pouring through for SC Eagles as they third party this one and get a lot done off the back of it.
Eagles completely ruining that fight there. It was looking great for Big Baby, but they were taken down in the end, and it is the Eagles to get the lion's share of the points there from the southeast side. Now, can they continue to take this fight with Star Esports? That is their main competition and has been for a while. They've put off taking this fight, but they're up to 10 eliminations already, Blank.
Yeah, it's been a good game so far for SC Eagles, but shots pouring through. Again, this is such a difficult area to play in. There is luckily a re-knock that comes off the back of that one. These nades are a little bit short, and Samatana does not have anything in terms of grenades to deal with unless he can pull out a very nice Molotov to disperse them out of these positions. Has the ghillie, so very invisible. Okay.
Visible. It turns out. Can actually be seen. It was the King's new clothes. Well, the Emperor's new clothes, that was it. As he is going to get spotted. Called out like, no, we can see you. You are there. No, shoot him.
Yeah, I sort of can understand it because they were all stood up so they'd see down into the grass. It's a great spot, though, honestly.
Yeah. Very difficult to see that. But they managed it. They made it work. And the Eagles, they are down to 2, though. Default has a challenge against 2, and that's not going to go well. Shoom holding that ridge line, continuing to try and suppress the plateau. Good for 1. Isn't going to get traded off either. Now it's just Devil remaining for S-Eagles squad. Against 2 players for Star Esports, Shoom can still challenge the ridge line. You know he's there. Spray stepping up, peeking, ducking back in, and Devil doesn't know what to do.
Very good.
Shoom with the good timing there. And will roll down the hill, closer towards the 2v2 with Strangers.
Yeah, that was a fantastic engagement that Shoom just took with S-Eagles. He was the backstop. Send Oka down towards the bottom of the hill to deal with Strangers earlier on. Again, holding this angle. So they were taking a fairly tough fight on both ends here. Baby and just maintain position on that north side. They probably would have won this game fairly handedly with 4 players in tow. Now we're in a 2v2.
Elise on a wide flank here. Actually, a lot of damage over towards Shoom from Monkey. Both of these players are in the same location. I don't think either of them are looking over towards Alicio. If he gets a spot, that's game over for Star Esports. They're right on the blue. They have to stand up in just a moment because this zone is closing to nothing. And Alicia really has got the number here. Shoom should be going down. Certainly in danger of it. But does Monkey get re-knocked? Doesn't even land the shots over to Shoom. That's a bit of a whiff there from Monkey. But there's Alicio. Finally stands up. And that should open the door to find Shoom. And a really nice shutdown comes on through for Strangers.
Yeah, great play from Alicio, honestly. A really, really long run over towards that eastern side, and he gets just a great slap out the back of it, honestly, because I think that side swipe's so strong because both the players are so confident to be standing up because they know they've got the downhill pressure where they can't see them realistically other than just the headshot angle, but Alicio takes advantage of that and just picks himself up 2 easy eliminations. They were very, very slow on the uptake, and I think that was purely because they just assumed they were fighting with 2 players down the hill as opposed to 1 switching over to the other side, which is why Strangers plays so passively there at the end game. But yeah, nice game for Strangers. Good clear out on that north side as well that eventually leads them to that chicken dinner, and they were able to live against S-Eagles. I think that was the massive thing.
18 points for Strangers, 17 for Eagles, 13 for Star. I could keep going on, but you can see that they're on your screen. Team Spirit still keeping up their spirits with 8 points. Their bombastic roll down with 2 players on the south side, adding quite a decent chunk to their tally after losing two fairly early on, so that will be good news for them. However, the Eagles are going to be hot on their heels after that one, so they'll have to defend that top 2 spot. Dagestan as well, getting a few points that match. We'll see just what is going to unfold with the Eagles, with Dagestan, with Team Spirit after the break. real nice shutdown at the end of that last match, but we're getting underway with our next one very, very quickly now. Anyway, we are going to be heading in for another round. I believe this one is going to be a Sandhawk on the cards for us. Miramar. There we go. Yeah. Second map, Miramar. We're over to the desert this time. John Allen Blank bringing it at you for the PMSL EMEA qualifier.
We are. I mean, pretty excited to see what happens in this next game. Let's take a look at the overall, how things are shaping up here at the second game of the day. 78 points for Dagestan, 73 points to Team Spirit, but S-Eagles are not far behind, close on the heels of Team Spirit right now with 71 points. They would win a tiebreaker with their 2 chicken dinners accrued, and Star Esports still holding on about 4th place right now, 52 points. I think they've had some strong games, very opportunistic team, and they certainly feel like a team that can do very well. Some new players that I haven't really seen too much of that have been quite impressive so far.
Some teams down here in the doldrums from 9th down to 16th. A bit of a drop-off that you kind of see from 11th down to 14th. They're 19, 19 and 15 at the bottom of the tables. It is getting more and more far-fetched for Farvoice and co to be able to ladder their way on up. Because at the end of the day, we're halfway through our tournament, and you can take a real benchmark of what you kind of expect towards the end of the tournament at that halfway mark. But we've got to get there first. We've only played 7 matches. We've got
some pretty unfortunate areas of the map where it's so open. It's difficult to get a lot of those cross angles because you're essentially fighting on the edge a lot of the time. So it is difficult. And I think for teams today, hoping for maybe not such a southeastern shift where they get stuck around Los Leones and in towards those foothills that sit on the eastern side of the coast. I'm hoping that we see One for All move a little bit quicker. It feels like their rotates are fairly slow here on Miramar.
Yeah, they currently are, 5% full cowling? They need to up those numbers. Those are rookie numbers. They have more pace in them. We've seen it. We just want to see a little bit more this time around. I'm interested to see if Team Spirit are going to let this one slip away from them again. And I think it's what I said at the start of the tournament, right? This is the time for prove that they are still as big of a threat as we would consider them, right? Certainly in my eyes, anyway. I think you might disagree. For me, I've been supporting this roster. I've been a long time fan of Kitsune's as well. There's a lot of story in this team, right? But is this where the story ends? If they don't qualify here, I feel like something's really, really got to change, or we'll see maybe more than some of the gladiators looking to retire after this, because it would be a massive blow to not be able to qualify for the fall season. Still a lot of games to play and a lot of opportunities to prove yourself, though. Let's head to the desert.
Yeah, I don't think that was that bad of a game from Team Spirit on that last match, honestly. I think 8 eliminations is pretty good. And that'll do 8 points total is pretty good, and that'll do the trick, especially in a position where they get caught out off guard with just 2 players left alive. I do think they're a strong team. Again, I think it's difficult for a team like them to be playing in a lobby like this. No disrespect to some of the teams in here. I do think that we are seeing more mistakes than we would see at an international level. And I think if you're fans of Pubg Mobile, you definitely agree with me, just because this is a qualifier, right? This is where some of our teams who are made hold towards, PMSLs, some more of the highbrow tournaments. So I think it's fair enough to say. After Team Spirit, it's difficult to play in a lobby because it's hard to read opponents who aren't playing how you would expect them to, coming off the back of playing against teams of the world.
It's true. I mean, yeah, when you're playing as it were, with these teams that sit around you, pulling off some unorthodox decisions, yeah, you're right. I mean, that really can test you, but you do still need to pass that test, right, if you want that chance at full, at those PMGC points as well. Now we got a little bit of a hot drop on Miramar, of all places. Star Esports, they've got a fight on their hands. It's Farvoice Gaming, though, who are their opponents, and as it goes, this is probably one of the teams that you do want to be facing on a hot drop if you have to.
Yeah, Farvoice really haven't had the... Oh, wow, nice shot. Haven't really had the impact in these matches so far. And that last game, I didn't say it because it felt... wasn't the right time, but they did feel a little bit lost, in my personal opinion. They weren't exactly finding the right rotate. They weren't sure where to go next. So I think that there's opportunity for them to improve right now. Star Esports already starting things off strong. High Nows will find default though. Again, limited loot.
Oh dear. There is an answer. Far Voice do have backup coming in the form of Luna. They found a knock as well. Shum looking to suppress the angle, jumps across, gets caught a little bit in the crossfire, has an SKS and a Winchester, still steps out, and gets punished. I mean, I'm not too sure about that one. Star Esports felt like they had this one in the bag all of a sudden. To the wind.
It has gone fairly wrong for Star Esports so far. Poker last left alive trying to get this back under control, but highly doubtful. In comes the viewer. It's probably going to be a rock up here. Likely to lose the engagement. Yep, nice from Luna there. Gets right behind them. QBZ will take him down.
Brothers in Arms are close by. Could potentially third party, but it looks like they're too slow off the blocks and won't be able to get involved in time. So Far Voice Gaming lose a player but pick up 4 points. Nice result, but losing a player this early on Miramar, especially when the circle's up to your area, you need to be able to hold out a lot of this area if you want to be able to get deep into these matches. And with only 3 players, that's going to severely limit their ability to do so.
Yeah, very tough to work with now. And I think that especially on Miramar, losing players early is never a good thing. It's sort of telling of how the game's going to go for you at that point. And a lot of teams will go into this more survival mode as soon as they lose one player and just try and get towards that end game, which is very doable if you stay out of the way here on Miramar. You are sacrificing the chance at more eliminations, but like I said, for Team Spirit, an 8-point game is not bad as long as you're able to do that regularly.
Shockwave have spotted a player. GG wanting to keep it under control. Not going to be able to do so from that angle because Silence pulls back a little bit. The vehicle's giving away. The Shockwave have moved up to this building. Silence? Okay. Fair enough. He knew he could survive that, I guess. Still does 0 meds, so...
You got to get a quick getaway on that one, so just jumps down there. I mean, there's no point for him sticking around that top side. There was no other easy way of getting down. So just jump off the side of the cliff. Try and slide on down with the old skate soles. Isn't always advisable, but in this situation, I think it was one of the few moments where it was called for.
I'm more interested in the fact that he had basically no supplies, right? Like, what's he been doing for the last 3 minutes, 4 minutes?
Look, man, jump into a game, there's no loot, what can you do?
You're in San Martin, there's loot.
There's nothing there.
Good point.
Couldn't find anything.
Oh, yeah. Maybe he needs to try...
That's literally the only reasoning. That's literally the only reason I can think of is there was literally no loot in his drop spot.
I mean, he was up on the top of that cliff, and we just saw that there was at least, like, weapons and ammo and stuff in those buildings. But you're right, I mean, maybe...
meds?
Exactly, yeah, I guess. that is true and not untrue in this case.
Yeah. But yeah, up towards that north side of the map, you'll get so pretty central, holding a very typical split, actually, over that ridge side in that center area. You've got the compound that sits on that north side, then usually play a player on top of the ridge that has some scouting potential over towards Crater and the south side of the map, particularly over towards Hacienda though, because that's where a lot of teams are going to aggress Getso from, and that will be Kanina Power heading on out that way. So I hope to see some kind of clapback coming through from Getso if it comes to a head.
Kanina Power still split, just a little bit, hiding their vehicle, hiding the pickup, making sure those tyres stay intact. Don't want to keep the health bar on that one, rightly so. On the north side now, these hills to the southeast of La Cobreria are going to start to pack in. The teams over on the east I'm looking at right now. You've got 5 teams who have yet to make their way up on this eastern side. So potential for a scrap around the water treatment hills, around that sort of Hacienda area as well. When 1715, when Blue Tiam, when S Eagles squad, when One for All and Dagestan all potentially move up on this eastern side, could come to a head on the conflict. This southwest edge as well, with Strangers and Team Spirit, both going to be in close proximity near Power Grid.
Yeah, quite a lot of teams heading around there. I mean, it's a fairly central position. You want to take the high ground. It makes sense. So quite a few teams will be congregating on that position. You can play around the fencing on the outside in Power Grid as well. This gives you an opportunity to hold. I mean, Team Spirit being able to get towards Power Grid quite early, though, circumvent over towards Strangers. This fight likely not to kick off anytime soon because there is just that plateau to the eastern side of Power Grid, which is just flat ground. And realistically wouldn't want to cross there anytime soon. So for Strangers, more likely for them to just try and post up on this ridge side and play along there for the time being. You have Dagestan coming in, though, who had a pretty shocking game last time around. Got caught out by 2 teams. It's an unfortunate scenario for him.
A lot of ground on the north side of this circle is still available, and no one's taken it. Getso laying siege right now to Far Voice Gaming. They've already taken on Star and come out on top, but Getso seem to be giving them a bigger run for their money. They've already lost a player here, so 2 versus 4. This pops out the smoke, slow things down.
It's an interesting circle. All the way up towards that northwest side. And like I said, no one really was playing here because of the plane path, and most teams not opting to go for that wide wrap. They were all coming from that south side, so no one drops in La Cobraria either. And honestly, you wouldn't really want to play in that position to begin with because it is so much on the low ground. You'd rather take the high ground positions first. Getso, though, holding off versus Far Voice, who are doing a terrible job right now.
Okay, they've gone 1 for 1 right now on the trades, but with just Einhaus remaining, needs to hold his nerve into the fight and misses 3 shots that could have been crucial into the pacing of this fight. Coming on through, staying on into the fight, moves into the building again, shuts the door in their face. Wants to slow Getso down, still 3 players to handle. Around the door frame, a lot of damage pouring on in, and that's the final nail. Done for Getso. They finished the fight, but now they need to leg it up to the north side.
I mean, they were one of the teams that were furthest on the north, so they should be able to get a good position. Canina Power were outskirting them on that eastern side, but they've just decided immediately to head towards those eastern compounds in La Cobradia. Fair enough, respect that play. And AA Academy, again, passive gameplay. They shift far over towards that western edge and are going to take up the ridge side that sits just on the outer edges of this circle in the northwest.
Ooh, Asia Mix turning Team Spirit a little bit back to front there. Too bold on the peak. They might be able to pick up a point for it. A second knock found, and Dimmy is doing so much work on this hillside. 2 players down for Team Spirit, nearly a third as well. But Asia Mix lose their player. Matic needs to hold off against Keme now in a crucial position. The reses are being enacted right now for Team Spirit, and he does just that. Matic stands tall for Team Spirit. Potential to keep them up as 4.
Got the rest of Asia Mix coming in now, but I think the reses are coming through pretty thick and fast, so it will be a 2v3. They're not really too worried about Matic. They're looking to close off these reses. That could be a great air burst, but just goes a bit too far. Lost attempts to push Matic off the position.
Matic not going to be happy about that nade or that peak either. Lost finds it, looks for the spray down for the flush and gets it. Lost and Retro now looking to try and res their teammate. Keme on the hillside, his teammate holding face. Again, it's the same scenario, but in reverse. Team Spirit now looking to slow down these reses. A nade from effect. Spots the player close, has to dip back. Hasn't really got the backup to be taking this fight as aggressively. Now that they've fully lost Matic, do they need to continue this fight? I guess you just want to get rid of Asia Mix.
I mean, after this strong position they're holding on the high ground, this is a fight that you definitely want to go for. It's not something you can disengage from either. Effect just playing up close and personal. Very little ammo on the barrel here as well, and Lost has got another grenade to work with.
Nobody third-partying this just yet. There are some teams that maybe could do. Kitsune tries to sweep the leg, but gets taken down himself, and Lost looks for the spray. Effect and Nomi from the high ground look to protect their IGL, and will be able to do a little bit more over the Lost. Keme down as well. Can Kitsune get back up because he's only got 1 teammate active? Now it's just Retro in a 1 versus 1 behind Effect on the vehicle. Low HP there. That is so low, and through the window, nails the shot. It's Asia Mix again to take down Team Spirit.
Yeah, what a fight there, honestly. I think for Matic, it's the case he holds that fight together a long time there for the team spirit. Difficult engagement. And pretty well played from Asia Mix. They've really just overwhelmed Team Spirit. I don't think they expected the speed at which they were going to push them. But a good fight. Very close.
You expect more in those scenarios. I mean, they got the big mistake for Team Spirit, I think, was getting too bold trying to peek towards Demi, right? He was sat there over the ridgeline, and there was backstops, and Team Spirit just disregarded that and pushed right over, clear as day. They're silhouetted right on that ridgeline with nothing you can do. They didn't have smoke cover, they didn't have anything going out, no suppression, no off angles for themselves. So a little bit of a misstep there.
I think they're just very low on utility. I think that really what kills them is the fact that Lost has so many nades in his backpack compared to them. I think the effect was running of one and it had to be very efficient. By the time you thought about throwing it out, there was already players pushing over the ridge side. Yeah, a very close fight. Could have gone either way. But again, Asia makes just a lot of aggression. I mean, they completely forsake the backstop to go for the backstab. In the meantime, a lot of their players could have gone down off the back of that, but yeah, I just don't think Team Spirit expected that one either. Some very interesting plays coming out from Asia Mix.
They really are giving this lobby a run for their money. Zadira for Dagestan looks to try and solidify their lead now. They are flagging a little bit on the southwest side to try and push it into the south of La Cobraria, where the circle has centered up on this urban environment now. Zadira nails the spray, but doesn't quite connect enough for those rounds, and Alicio sits him back down. The off angle comes through from Magnum, but again, just not going to have the effect that it wants to. And Dagestan are losing players left and right. Stranger starting to turn things around now.
Yeah, it's so brawly in this lobby. It's just essentially running at teams at the moment where utility becomes a little bit less of a factor because they're right up in your face quite a lot. And I think this comes from players who are very used to playing in lobbies with this is just the optimal gameplay, which is just get up close and personal a lot of times. Great shots here coming through from Limbo Boom. Takes down two.
But he's only got himself to play with, and Limbo Boom cannot see the forest for the trees. The vehicle obscures his vision, and out the passenger side, they drop it on out and take down the elimination. Dagestan down, so top two are out, and Eagles remain. They are in La Cobraria in a central position, holding down one of the buildings there, the southeast sector of La Cob.
Yeah, they will have to push forward eventually if the circle doesn't shift down towards that southeast side, but not a bad spot to be playing in. They have the building. A lot of teams refusing to head towards that very open sector of La Cobraria on that northern side. Most looking to play around on those outer edges where it gives them a little bit of that high ground advantage. One for all, kind of checked out at this fight at the moment. Over towards that eastern side.
17-15, they try to pull off the old classic, go center, don't make noise strat. Doesn't work out this time, they lose at least one. I think it was just Phantom who did go down there, but I guess, to be fair, they have made it into a building, which means that we're likely going to see them in top 5.
Yeah, it's typically how it goes. I don't think that's the greatest of spots though for 17-15. Pretty easy to spot players, but again, it's just they like to take these positions that no one really wants to play, but you're usually forced into playing later on, but they'll just take them early, and I can respect that because it does catch a lot of teams off guard where it's a case of they would have liked that much earlier, but they don't go for it. In comes Blue Team DX, you want to take control of the outer edges of the wall, but again, 17-15, they're already here.
Split across that 17-15 prow. Blue Team do lose a player to Kanina Power. They had to go further around and actually one for all get the better end of the deal. Getting into the east side of La Cobraria, they will have some buildings to play around. Potential for them to stretch out towards that east side as well. But S-Eagles squad right now, with this high up perch, they have so much oversight onto this one for all compound. It's going to be difficult for them to make those moves, but with smokes, with appropriate placement there, they can definitely start to break west when the time's right.
Yeah, I think, again, for one for all, this is a little bit of an unfortunate situation to be in, considering that a lot of teams will have eyes on them first when they make that move. This is the last resort compound that you take on the eastern side. Gets those fully counted out here with just 2-3 players on the eastern edge. likely they'll be going down pretty soon. But again, all depends on this next circle, because it could go anywhere inside La Cobreria. Big Baby could have a massive chance if they're able to just play the western cliff face, essentially, that just looks out over the entirety of La Cobreria, and you get a really comfortable game off the back of that.
With a hard west shift, that's what they're looking for. Would be pretty unlikely, though, to see all of that under their control. Everybody's starting to make inroads. You can see the Eagles playing 2 and 2 on the east side. Asia Mix, they're playing up with 2 players that they have remaining after Team Spirit took 2 of them. They are also on that south side in a potentially strong spot. The circle's still just teasing us with closing. Not just yet. I think we've got about 20 seconds before it comes on in. Blue Team do manage to get onto the north side. 17-15 as well. Both of them paid a player as toll to get into this area. But like you said, it's a pretty tricky area to kind of move through once you're kind of locked in there, right? It's a little bit open. Too open for my liking.
It's hard to move anywhere from that spot. Like I was saying, it's just a case of you sit there and then that's it. That's your game plan for the rest of the match. And it can be a winning position if the circle moves further over towards that north side. AA Academy, again, they have been checked out of this game for quite a while now, and it comes too late. Like, they realistically should have made that hard decision and just bit the bullet of heading in towards that northern side of La Cobreria and playing from that spot. And trying to just hold out on that northern edge for hope that the circle would go that way. Interesting decision from Gentle. I think they pulled this off quite a few times, so they have Gentle as an off angle. He's fairly confident to play on his own, but yeah, he's pretty out in the open. Finally finds a spot to play in, but Canina Power is harassing him.
That's a wild rotate coming through. That's what I was exclaiming about, because from 17-15 to be able to get that sort of a foothold into the centre is amazing for them. If they can regroup there, it will be a miracle. Not too hopeful for it. Brothers in Arms trying to descend. 8-8 Academy as well, similarly getting punished. Brothers in Arms do find a little opening towards the Strangers' west side, and it's a split hold from Strangers, which means that just the one player to hold off against Carry Boy. Backup is coming in the form of those off angles, suppressing the sidelines of those buildings. Not in time to take Carry Boy down, though. They do finally close that net, move more players, more resources out to the west.
Big Baby is basically holding the entirety of AA Academy with just 2 players. They're very focused on holding on to this compound that looks over on that western side. Tokyo, as well as Rodri Jr. will just try and break away into La Cobreria itself on that very western edge. Gentle hears that. Ragnar's going to go down to the blue, likely. Picky as well does get picked off. That is unfortunate. Yeah, Big Baby handled this very well. I think they knew that there was only really 2 angles that teams could have come from. They've got Arabao holding out on the angle on that south side to provide support, but they knew that a team might wrap over this northern edge, so very good pickup from them.
And just rolling everyone down now as well. They know what they've done. And that western side, potential to just completely send on in, right? If it is a last chance, you could maybe be able to get at least 2 players into a building in the middle of La Cobreria, and picking up these eliminations now is super valuable for them. Nades being traded 17-15, have Getzo to worry about. You kind of counted them out earlier, I think, Blank, but maybe they've got a chance here, although it doesn't look super likely. Remember, 17-15, they're split 2 and 1 after they sent Gentle all the way out to the west.
Yeah, with where Getzo's coming at the moment, they have the side swipe coming through from Blue Team DX, and that's what 17-15 sort of banking on here, is that Blue Team DX is going to get involved in this engagement. You can already see them pulling the pins on the nade, so you are penned in now as Getzo.
Big Baby actually trying to break out to that northwest point of La Cobreria and losing, well, a knock at least so far on the western side.
Not sure why.
Continue to survive bombardment. But again, low nades to 17-15. They don't have the resources to hold this off for long.
They just have to hold it down for the time being. This is where, for Big Baby, I'd likely make the approach to take the compound that just sits underneath the ridge side, trying to take control of the fences over towards that north. So many teams and players are already in this location. You're going to get cut off here and there. I think they're banking on the fact they've got more angles. Arabelle needs to start playing the game, though. This compound's no longer worth it to them, other than a scouting position, but all the wide wraps that might have come through have concluded. That's no longer a big thing that'll be happening from now on. Good shot over towards Silence from Big Baby. That should be the go signal. Try and pick up some kind of position. Crash is difficult. But again, that compound just underneath AA Academy Tokyo is available.
One for all, finding out why the Eagles are in third place. Black going down, crawling on. Nice nade over the top, doesn't quite reach the distance though towards Black. Nades for one for all, not finding their mark either. 3 players on the hold. For one for all, spots Jabba. Has the nade cooking. King should be able to nail this one, but a reposition timely there comes on through. Off-angle potential to play in with some shots, but the Eagles, they're giving ground when they need to. Flavius up into the close wall there. That's pinged out, and immediately a 1-2 punch with the nade takes him down.
Yeah, very good spot by S Eagles there onto Flavius. You'd have thought getting through the smoke there would have been pretty good play. Lovely nade from King. Just not watching the angle. Needs to flush it out though, realistically, because that is a free res otherwise. But this might give them time to pick up their players in return, which is a good trade in my opinion.
Yeah, and it seems like they're a little bit faster on it. No, it looks about even timed. So another nade from Smarty, if that finds a knock, would have been huge, but not going to be able to do so. The blue zone will hurry this up. It's going to chivvy things along just that little bit faster. The healings come through. Now it's a 4v4. A full assault comes on in for one for all. They're going to try and lay down the law, but immediate sightline line up. And it is just brutalization from Kanina Power. A third-party position tears one for all in half. Just Black now remains.
Yeah, I mean, for Kanina Power, they're just waiting for this to play out. They've got such good angles over towards S Eagles, and they have realistically the best position in the circle right now with these 3 buildings being controlled. Again, it's very easy to hold 3 separate spots because people aren't moving all that much unless forced by the circle in this particular position on the map. So maybe for Kanina Power, they have a real good chance of actually winning this game. In comes the final players from Getzo. Duchu moves in, but it's just all shrouded by the smoke, and they're flying blind to both these teams.
Oh, big nade. Right in his face. What distance from Blue Tiam as well. Oh dear. That's going to close things down. 17-15 now with their duo. Can try and regroup potentially towards Gentle. It's a long road for them, and I don't think... Oh, they might have that buggy that they can use. The question is, how fast is that rollout?
Yeah, it's a tough decision to be made here, and I think Gentle has lived long enough now and is safe enough. Yeah, his position is known, but likely teams think he's just a solo if you are Kanina Power. So not thinking too heavily about a team flying in over towards to support him.
Banner just organising his inventory to step out into the blue. Has to get back. Oh, nearly takes the last tick there. But if he's got a first aid anyway, he's going to be using that. So you can go down just a little bit lower. Gets the healing done. But the regroup needs to come through. They're being fully crunched out by Blue Tiam.
And Blue Tiam's got their number. I mean, some of the sight lines are cut off for Blue Tiam, which shouldn't be that much of a problem, as they're just third-party peeking this one. But I do think the Tornado just literally zipped past into the smoke. Quick jump. Heavy nade over towards S Eagles as well from Kanina Power. Banner's going to make the same approach.
I mean, they're just going one by one. I mean, you don't need to do anything else, right? Eagles aren't going to push to the north side of the road, ever. So Tornado, you're just playing Secret Agent Cody Banks on this north side now.
Yeah, just play it safe, play it smart. Be heading through into the late game. I do like this from 17-15. They've played it pretty methodically to get this far into the match. Kanina Power, though, they've had their eyes over towards Blue Tiam DX for quite some time now. I think there's one thing that Kanina Power have done well this game is keep tabs on where absolutely everyone is inside of this circle, which is not an easy feat.
I'm interested that Brothers in Arms have actually been able to work this western side effectively. They were outside of all of the teams in La Cobreria, and they've managed to get in and get a lot done as well. Just 2 players remaining, though, on the south side. They're the team that's slowing up Big Baby. Gentle now starting to feel a little bit of heat from the south side. Lawrence is getting close by. Woodson from Brothers in Arms as well, launching these nades towards it.
I think if Big Baby understood that it was just two players in Brothers in Arms, they would have likely crashed this position a long time ago. There's a shot from Kanina Power over towards Blue Team TX, and the circle centers right up on top of them. Now it's really a question of whether S Eagles can actually assault onto Kanina Power or not. If they can, potentially a win for them, but you know, a lot of the money right now is on Kanina Power. They haven't picked up a huge amount of eliminations, but that's likely going to change in the last few minutes of the game. Still have 23 players in this one at Zone 8, which is impressive.
Yeah, 8 teams remaining as well. Not too long before it's all going to come crashing in. Big Baby, I don't think you can go for that res. You just got to hope that he can crawl to you. Strangers as well. Same story for Tree on that south side. And it is all on Kanina Power, the linchpin of this circle. With Eagles picking up another elimination point, they do push up and push Team Spirit out of the top 2. You see, they're now up in second place. They've got placement points coming in besides that.
I think the real question is who's getting the podium finish, right? And for a lot of these teams, they're not in comfortable spots. I think that the top 2 very much confidently sitting with S Eagles and Kanina Power. That third place is the real weird one. Good shots from Brothers in Arms. I mean, they've been holding it down in this location for quite some time, and Big Baby have been unable to deal with them. A massive warehouse, such a powerful spot for them to play from.
Ooh, Blue Tiam just went down. It was 17-15 are able to enact, and now they actually have, again, a cohesive 3 players. They're in a little bit of an extended line, and Big Baby going to give them some pressure. Gentle has got his teammates backing him up, though. Has to dip back behind the truck, but will survive for just a moment longer. How much further can they go? 17-15. Stay alive with just 2, though. A Big Baby go down on the north edge.
Yeah, again, impressive game from 17-15. I think they're very good at playing with the scraps that is given to them. We're in the last circle now, and although this is an uncomfortable spot to play in, it does have some of the strongest hard cover. But as soon as they have to walk up over towards this roadside, it's a case of getting their bellies down. And can they find the opportunity to move? I think they'll have to wait for S Eagles to aggress onto Kanina Power and run then.
Teams are starting to drop like flies now. We've got 5 teams remaining. 14 players alive in the lobby. 17-15 want to cross, but Tornado's down. Will get flushed very quickly. It's all up to Gentle now. He's the archetypal survivor for this team on this match. How much further can he go? He breaks to the right of that crate. Eagles are trying to push across as well. Kanina Power, they're still on 4. Brothers in Arms holding Gentle out, but a nade to find Woodson. They're going to need to pick that one back up to move on forwards. I don't think they have time to do it, though. The blue zone is going to push him in, force this fight. Gentle might just be able to pick up another point, ladder up into 3rd place. Kanina Power trying to face off against Eagles.
Islam does find 17-15 on the side swipe. They've had a good eye towards this game, and now where it should be just in that 2v2. As we head down to our last 2 teams as 4. This could be a cheeky nade if you can get it through the window there.
Oh, it's good. Underneath Pubg, but goes long. Far too long on the cook there from Kanina Power. Spooked by the nade coming his way.
Yeah, it does get some damage on and forces him to waste a grenade, which is the big thing. As long as you can influence their utility count, that's